Hi guys, Justin here, welcome Farm 26, and this is one of them jobs where I know I'm going to be coming back to. So what I've got is a loose wedge here, and I do not have a replacement wedge. I know they're out there. Trouble is, by the time I get one, I think I'm going to be into I'll be cutting soybeans already, and I just don't want to deal with it. But what the other half of it is I don't want to deal with this. It won't come off because the gear on the track is froze. But I don't want it slopping out and getting worse and wrecking the axle. So what I'm going to do is shim it up. And we're going to set these weights on properly too, now that we got no fluid. So yeah, stick around, enjoy. We'll get to it. I like to know what I've got in there. So just to show you kind of what I got going on, this side never had the weight on the inside. This side I already took 6 nuts off. So this one here, the opening, like right here, is the biggest weight I have, and I've got 2 of them. I originally wanted to put 2 on the inside, 2 on the outside. However, I've only got 2 of these with that big opening, so I'm only going to be able to have 1 of these on the inside. Then I'm gonna have to put that's actually a weight from a 70. I'm gonna have to put him, first one on the outside, and then stack I'll show you what they are. Then I can stack 2 of these ones on the outside. Just gonna flip for the part number. Right there he is. And, well, yeah, you can kind of see it. That is the weight number, and that is the newer one, but it does have the smaller hole. So if you're trying to stack 2 of these on the inside, and you're trying to run down 30-inch rows like I am, because this guy does spread fertilizer now and then, this is the problem you get. You can see there's just, the clearance just isn't there. Well, this one will clear. If he's by himself, you can tuck your center in almost all the way. Another thing I could do is move the clamps to this outside rib, but I've got another problem here. So that calcium chloride and age has not treated me well. I'm gonna have to blow each one of these bolts out, and I can't remember what they cost, but I think even the aftermarket ones were $10 bill. I want to say they were like 17 a piece through Deere. I could be wrong on that. I haven't checked that in a long time, and I could have been thinking about a different bolt too. But yeah, I know they're not a cheap deal, and the reason why they're not a cheap deal is your hex or your square head here. From what I've been told, it is not a standard size. It's different than if you just go to say Fastenal or Max, or whoever you're getting your bolts from. I was told that that's not a standard size, and the neck size, the heads are actually smaller. They'll fit, but they'll spin, is what I've been told. Now, the truth behind that, I don't know, but that's what I've been told. So yeah. And if someone's been down that road and can enlighten everyone else, that would be great in the comments. But that's the story I got. Well, we'll get to it. So here we are back by the drawbar, and I've already done the liberty to jack that up so our tire, if you listen, it's just barely scraping the ground. So as a secondary safety, we got our jack stand in, and he's shored up with a gap. That's the wider you can space this stuff, the more stable it will be. And he is there just in case something happens with that guy. We are going to rely on this guy to keep, you know, us where we need to be. If he sinks or whatever, I mean, you know, whatever happens, we'll have that jack stand. I know there's a gap there, but we want this so we can walk this tire off, not so we're fighting it. And we're going to have to go up and down just a little bit. So we need that little bit. If it sinks at 3/4 of an inch, that's easily recoverable. All right, well, back to the show. All right, so I've had this off not that long ago. And I had it off to put them weights in there. So what we did is I pulled the two. We're gonna back this off just a little more. Then we're gonna roll him to the bottom. And he is scraping on the ground, so this isn't the easiest to do. I mean, once he's been rolled around a couple times, he'll fall. And now, since we know that that wedge is loose, he should just back straight out. But he's not. Well, let me try. Let me just see something. Okay, this one does have a loose. Give me a second. Because I don't think I've got the right socket here. No, it's 1/16. I wonder if I can push them out with a regular wrench though. Okay, so what we're going to do, a little bit of oil, maybe he'll go, and 1/16 or 3/4. Yeah, I gotta get extension. Just too tight. Too tight for clearance anyway. Oh yeah, they both will move. So that's what you're supposed to do on these. You're supposed to run them back out when you cinch your wedge down tight. And yeah, he is. He's loose in there. Matter of fact, I could walk him up by hand now. All right, well, you get the idea. I'm going to get the wedge out and then roll him around so that way your track is to the bottom. That way you can deal with them. So that was fairly uneventful, which is good. But now to get them on, what we're going to do is just set them down, let them walk on the axle, lift them up, set them down, let them walk on the axle till we're getting close. Okay, now he should slide back a little bit so we can lift them up. And if you, I don't know if you can see or not, that bottom just walked in ever so slightly. Well, we probably gained 2-3 inches. Okay, try them again. And this is the easiest way I've found to do it when you're sitting there all by yourself. If you've got a second guy to, run that loader, or a loader, it does go a fair bit more efficiently. There. Okay. So we're getting awful close. And I just got to check my gaps a little bit because I got to throw that other wedge in before we get all the way. Okay, and now we're so close, I don't know, I might even have to back them out. Let's see how our wedge does. Can I get him in there? Well, not if he's not on that. What am I hanging up on? Oh, I'm on my block of wood. I have to go up. Oh, this is funny. Now the axle turns. You think you can get them to turn when you want them to? Well, I gotta set them down, grab a pipe wrench. Okay. There he's wanting to turn. So let's just roll the whole caboodle. Watch your fingers so they don't get pinched on that rim. Okay, let's see how close we are to. Okay, he's gonna have to get walked on the axle a little bit yet, but let's see if we can wiggle that wedge in. No. So what we'll do, we'll set him down. That sounded a lot worse than what it is. You know, this jack stand is actually being more of a hindrance to me right now. He's got to go down one notch so I can do my walking. Okay. Now if I lift him up, I can probably get that wedge in. Yeah, and he just fits in, which is kind of where we want him. Okay, we'll set down on that wedge. Hopefully we can move him in. See, it's a real pain in the butt when that adjuster there freezes up. You end up doing all sorts of fighting. How can I hold that wedge in there? Well, I'll get back to you. You guys get the idea. So I did find part of that wedge broken there, and he might have just wedged himself crooked in there. I'm going to try and draw him up, see what we get. I did go to the shop and get a little better sockets. Let's see if we got any wiggle. He's actually fairly tight now. I mean, I do know that this top, or the wedge that's got your adjuster on, I know he needs a little bit of love too, but yeah, I think if I just keep walking him in a little bit. Let me see if I can't turn the muffler on this thing. It isn't quite as loud then. Yeah, I think that, I mean, time will tell, but yeah, this wedge here is cracked, and the other one, part of that key cracked, so I kind of wonder if he wasn't just kind of hanging up, and because yeah, that wedge pulled out, oh, a good over an eighth. I'd say pretty close to 3/16 more than what it was. But yeah, there's no wiggle to him now. All right, on to the next part. What did I do with my bolt? So while I was at the shop grabbing them sockets, I grabbed them as well, and they're just O-rings. And what we're going to do is just hold our bolts in for our weights. So that way when we put our backside on, they're not, it's so we got a chance at grabbing them. So they don't push back in and we end up having to start all over. And these aren't anything special, they're just little cheap O-rings. Well, I don't know if they're cheap, but you know, they're not a special deal here at all. There we go. Now he can't, well, he can walk in, but it's not going to be problematic. There, we'll grab a couple more. I mean, yeah, just put them on just so they don't back out when you start pushing a weight on them. It's not anything crazy at all. And we only got to do it to this side because we're going to put them insides on first. They're going to be the battle. There, and he can't push in. Okay, 3 more. 1. Actually, you know what? I'm going to anti-seize these ones. Actually, I'm going to anti-seize all of them, but I'm going to get these ones first. There's no sense on getting them stuck in that cast. All right, there's one ready to roll. And I suppose you guys are just seeing nothing but back on me. I mean, that is kind of the game, though. I mean, it's hard to set you guys up with a perfect every time. A lot of times, you know, it's not like I'm working on a bench where I can give you an above view, or I've actually found it kind of challenging to get, I'm not going to say I'm good at it, but as good a videos as I have, it's been a bit of a challenge. I always got to be thinking of you guys, but yet I got to think of myself because I can't. I mean, this here, it's heavy. It's not as heavy as when it was full of fluid, but I wouldn't recommend doing it by yourself unless you've been down the road once before. I mean, there's a lot to be said about your buddy can save you. but I don't always have a buddy to be here. There, okay. Well, he'll come out. All right, time to move, you guys. Okay, so I know some of this I'll be blocking you, but I'm going to try to work from the other side much as I can. And what we're going to do is just walk this weight up close. Try to not nick our wiring. I don't think it works, but yeah, it does work. It does work. Never mind that comment. And what we're going to do is just roll our tire around until a stud is pretty close. And we're going to have to go more because I got to roll him. Okay. There, I got one. Now I'm going to have to get this guy, wherever he is, pushed back through. Or the top one, doesn't really matter. They all push back. Now the whole hard part about this is getting that first nut on. Once you've got the first nut on, you haven't won completely, but you've come a long ways. Okay, we're gonna not move anything, and I think I can get my first nut on. And he is just going to be that, just a nut to keep him from falling. There he goes. Oh, nice. This one slid back. But yeah, there we can get our second one. Okay, now from here, I'm going to tighten these up by hand so I don't get everything in too much of a bind. They're all going to have to come off, and what do I do with my wrench? Man, that's a change. I actually put him back in the toolbox where he belongs. Okay, so let's start bringing him in. Now he's square on the other side, so he won't move. But every thread we get in further is everything's going to start truing up. Hey, and look at that, he actually showed up. Let's see if we can grab him. Okay, so now we know that he's not going to flop much. Actually, I'm going to roll them this way, that way this Wait, maybe. Oh, too much. The more I wiggle him around, the more he's going to jiggle a little bit. So I can just give him a couple little, you know, whatever's on the loose. And he will kind of self-center. Okay, let's see how we did. Oh, he shifted again. About a half. We're going to see how that works. That's actually remotely square. Matter of fact, he's remotely square enough where we're just gonna do him and do him tight, get all the washers on, and then we can do the front. Then we're gonna call this side done. I think we're going to turn the whole rig around though. That way I can get that track loader in on him. And you guys will probably see pretty much the rest of this come in a little faster. You know what I mean. Well, I can tell you one thing. It's going to be nice to have our yard box mover have some real rubber on him. He was just fine with the little boxes, but even in, you know, decent ground conditions, with them two big Demcos and that J&M, I'm not going to say he wouldn't get them there, but he wouldn't get them there easy. There. There, I'm going to get some air and we'll keep rolling. There's that part. Well, I gotta show you guys this coming down the road. Well, there the neighbor goes. If that's the neighbor I'm thinking, that's a 7720, and they're real common around here. But yeah, he's got a corn head on, so I'm thinking he's either gonna ship some semi-wet corn or he's got good dry stuff. All right. Actually, are you going? Yeah, you're going. Actually, on that, I know his corn at one point was ahead of mine, and I know I did the one video on checking the corn, but I've checked it since, and last time I checked, I was at 29%. But that could put him, I would say at one point he would have been, oh, maybe, and this is just guessing, maybe a week ahead of me. I mean, that could be putting him in the teens, and that's definitely, if you're shipping it, I mean, fine enough. All right, let's get this tight. All right, and that didn't take too much. That wasn't a big battle. That's all we're gonna do. I mean, when we rolled them around, that got a lot of that centered and loosening up stuff taken care of. We'll set him down on his feet and start the outside. So this is going to be a lot of the same in repeat, so I am going to put you in fast. So, all right, see you when we get this side done. Well, there you go, and if she looks like that's a lot of weight on 3 little bolts, yeah, you're probably right. It's more than I wanted to do. My original intent was to put 2 on the inside like that, 2 on the outside, but my biggest deal is right here would it actually clip on my axle on these square spots right here. So I had to go with what I had to. That weight there doesn't stack with the rest. And what his deal is the center opening, and I can show you. Well, I'll start another one. So you can see that inner circle there right here. So the 70 weights are smaller around than this one, and this is an aftermarket weight. I don't know the name on it. All I can tell you is on the back side there is a casting that says, I don't know if you can see that or not, but 600. That's the only marking on it whatsoever. And yeah, they clear better. They still don't clear 100%. I can't give a stack like this on the inside. I wished I could. If I could, I'd have done it this way. But yeah, that's what we got, and I'll show you the newer Deere weights. Yeah, it's almost a straight line all the way through. I mean, there is a small slight variance, but part of that is just plain, you put them on there and you can cinch them bolts up as evenly as you think you can, and it's still not 100% right. So I mean, it's close, it's not bad, and some of it could be casting too. But there you go, that's one side done. Time for the next. Oh man, so here's my dilemma. This wedge is stuck, and I know I haven't shown you guys anything on it. I kind of thought I'd just come here and give it a whack with a sledgehammer and away we'd be. but it is stuck. I'll show you some evidence just how stuck it is. So let's see. See what you can see. Yeah, you can see that. So this shiny part here, that's all rust gone from it bowing, and yeah, that bulge. Yeah, that's I mean, I know it's not real thick pipe, but still 3/16, and normally you throw her over, 2 whacks of the sledge, wedge is loose. But yeah, I'm having trouble with that. I've pushed these as hard as they go, or as hard as my impact will go, and that and the sledge. I don't think it's going to be as bad as the TW20 was. And behind here, if I could get this bolt and this bolt loose, but here's the trouble. Can't get a ring on there. It's too close. So what I'm actually kind of thinking on doing is just tightening this one back up and forgetting about the inside weight until I have a minute this winter. I kind of plan on after I get some big tractor work done, I kind of plan on going through Dad's 7000, and yeah, the work on there I don't think is going to be quite as extensive. I mean, there's still going to be some work to Dad's, but to that 7, but yeah, and then we can bring this in and get it fully weighted. With 6 on the outside, that isn't going to be as bad. Well, I could stack. Hold on, let me think about this. So I could stack all 4 on the outside. And I might just do that and, you know, wedge this when I can and deal with it then. All right, I'm going to put that bolt back together and then I'll bring you guys in. Okay, so what we got here is I just went to the bandsaw and it's just threaded rod. Cut it short. And yeah, you can get these through Deere. Made a phone call. They didn't have them on hand. So I said, well, I'll just make them. I've made other ones, or the ones that I put on earlier, I made myself anyway. And we're just taking a square-headed nut. And I'll take on the grinder and make a point, weld them, and you end up with that. It's a little warm, so. But yeah, that's all it is that we're doing to make them. And yeah, I'm gonna finish these 3 up, and we'll put some weight on. There you go. There's one more. 2 to go. Well, there you go. 4 sets on the outside. Not quite what I wanted. It ends up being a lot of weight on them 3 little bolts. But got the big boxes all lined up in a line. And will she do it? Full? Absolutely not. But she'll handle one at a time in the yard just fine. All right. Well, not exactly how I wanted to do it. Wish them wedges weren't stuck, but I think that's going to be a winter project. Either way, the weight is the same on both sides, so it's not going to be real detrimental either way. Like I said, that's a lot of weight on 3 bolts, but I know it can handle it. I've seen it other places. It'll be fine. Well, with that, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one.